Have you ever felt like your mind is your worst enemy? As if, no matter how much you tried to advance, there was always an internal voice sabotaging your steps, telling you that you're not good enough, that it won't work out, that it's better to give up? If you seek success, personal fulfillment, and true growth, you need to understand one thing. The thoughts that dominate your mind today are shaping your future. And if these thoughts are toxic, limiting, negative, the path you are taking may be leading exactly where you don't want to go. Napoleon Hill, one of the greatest authorities on success and personal development in history, already warned, "What the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve." But what happens when your mind only conceives of failure, fear, and insecurity? How do you expect to achieve something great if all you feed within yourself are doubts and self-sabotage? It is no exaggeration to say that your mentality, it's the engine that drives or stops your journey to success. And if you are here watching this video, it is because inside you there is a flame that refuses to go out, a part that still believes that it is possible to change, grow, win. This part needs to be strengthened, fed, and protected from everything that is toxic, limiting, and destructive. Do you want to become a person with a winning mindset? Do you want to apply real and proven strategies to master your thoughts, develop self-discipline, increase your focus, finally, unlock your full potential? So you need to understand how negative thoughts settle in, how they act silently in your routine, and how to eliminate them before they destroy your dream. Because the truth is, toxic thoughts are sneaky. They hide behind justifications, disguise themselves as prudent, and often even appear to be realistic. But the reality you live today is a direct reflection of what you believe is possible. Your mind is your battlefield, and if you do not learn to command it, it will command you. Hill teaches us that success begins in the mind. It's not about physical strength, it's not about luck, and it's definitely not about what others think of you. It's about how you think about yourself. And right now, you may be carrying beliefs and thoughts that are blocking your evolution, that are sabotaging every step you take towards your goal. People who achieve great results are not those who never doubt, but those who have learned to master doubt, who face their darkest thoughts with clarity, courage, and a powerful strategy. And that's exactly what you're going to learn about here today. If you feel like it's past time to take control of your life, to stop being a prisoner of thoughts that don't take you anywhere, to transform your mind into a powerful ally in building the best version of yourself, then stay with me, because what follows will show you how to eliminate toxic thoughts in a practical way, based on the philosophy of Napoleon Hill, and unlock the mindset you need to achieve the success you deserve. Now that you're about to discover how to eliminate toxic thoughts from your mind, I want to invite you to be part of something bigger. This channel is more than videos about success and personal development. It's a space where people like you, who believe in the power of the mind, the strength of discipline and transformation through mindset, come together to grow together. Therefore, if you are committed to this change and want to be part of this community of growth and leadership, leave a word or phrase in the comments that represents this new phase that you are taking on from today. It could be something like internal power, daily consistency, or even "I command my mind." These phrases are like anchors, visual reminders of your commitment. And yes, I read all the comments. I make a point of leaving my heart in each one, because I value each person who decides to evolve, like this video, if it's making sense to you so far. This simple gesture shows YouTube that this content is relevant and helps it reach other people who are also looking for a new level of life, just like you. And of course, if you haven't signed up yet, now is the time. Hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. This way, you don't miss any content that could be exactly what you need to hear at the right time on your journey. Real change starts with simple decisions: commenting, liking, subscribing. These are small steps, but each one strengthens your commitment to a new version of yourself. And you are not alone. Here is your place. Let's go together. Today, I want you to pay attention to one thing. You have the power to change your life from now on. And I'm not saying this based on empty promises, motivational phrases that only serve to cheer you up for 5 minutes. I'm talking about something deep, real, tested, experienced, taught by Napoleon Hill and experienced by thousands of people who decided to take control of their own minds. What I'm going to show you here is exactly how you can break the chain of toxic thoughts that have been holding you back, that prevent you from moving forward, that sabotage your discipline, your confidence, and keep you away from the success you so desire. You may not even realize it, but every time you allow a negative thought to take hold, you are feeding a chain that imprisons your mind. It is as if you are adding another brick to the wall that separates you from your goal. And this wall is not made of concrete. It is made of beliefs, fears, doubts, and mental repetitions that gradually undermine your energy, your clarity, and your ability to make firm decisions. That is why change begins here within. There is no true success without mental transformation. And today, you will learn how to do this, starting right where you are with what you have. Napoleon Hill devoted his life to studying the most brilliant minds, the most successful leaders, the entrepreneurs who left legacy. And one of the most powerful discoveries he shared was all of these people mastered their thoughts before they mastered the world around them. There is no leadership without self-mastery. There is no external success without internal alignment. And if you feel like you have dormant potential, if you believe you were born for more, but are tired of feeling paralyzed by insecurities, procrastination, and constant doubts, then you are exactly in the right place. Because what I'm going to show you today is not theory, it's practice. It is applicable, it's real. Let's talk about how the toxic thought cycle works, how it repeats itself as an invisible pattern, and how you can interrupt this cycle with simple but extremely powerful action. And when I say simple, I'm not saying easy. Changing requires decision. It requires awareness. But above all, it requires method. And that's exactly what you'll receive here. A method based on Napoleon Hill's principle with the clarity and objectivity you need to apply it today. Just imagine what it would be like to wake up tomorrow with a feeling of mental lightness, clarity of purpose, energy directed towards your goals, and no longer consumed by internal doubts. Imagine what your productivity would be like if, instead of fighting your own thoughts, you could use them as allies, as a driving force. This is not utopia. This is the result of a trained, disciplined mind, guided by a defined purpose, exactly as Napoleon Hill teaches. And yes, you can get there. It doesn't matter how much has been lost along the way. It doesn't matter how many times you've tried and failed. The key is to dominate your mind before it dominates you. And here's the detail that no one tells you. Negative thoughts don't go away on their own. They need to be replaced. Every time you try to just ignore them, they come back stronger. Therefore, what you will learn here are replacement, reprogramming, and mental targeting strategy. You will understand how to transform every toxic thought into an opportunity for personal empowerment. You will learn how to use mental discipline as a tool for liberation. And more than that, you will start to build a new identity, because no one reaches a new level of life with the same mentality as before. If you want new results, you need to create a new version of yourself. And this new version starts now. You don't need to wait for the perfect moment. You don't need to have everything figured out. You just need to be willing to take the first step with courage, even in fear, even with doubts, because the path reveals itself to those who walk. And today, as you learn how Napoleon Hill dealt with destructive thoughts, you will realize the true power lies in taking responsibility for what you allow to enter and remain in your mind. You can change the direction of your story, and that starts with a mental choice. The choice to no longer be dominated by the voices of fear, comparison, paralysis. And if at any point during this video you feel that something made sense to you, comment below. Record your turning point. It could be something like mental discipline, or even, from today on, I control my thoughts. These words are not just phrases, they are statements that reinforce your commitment. And yes, I read all the comments. I make a point of leaving my little heart in each one, because I know that each comment represents a real step in the journey of someone who has decided to evolve. Your journey. And if you haven't liked this video yet, do so now. It's a simple but powerful gesture. YouTube understands that this content is relevant and shows it to more people who are in the same search as you. And if you want to continue receiving content like this, which goes straight to the point and delivers practical strategies to transform your mind, your routine, your life, then subscribe to the channel and activate the bell. This is more than watching video. It's being part of a community that believes in the strength of mindset, self-discipline, and consistent action as paths to real success. This is your space, and your moment begins now. You may not even realize it, but right now, as you listen to my word, there is silent programming operating inside your mind. A programming that was installed little by little over the years by experiences, other people's statements, repeated frustration, and by that internal voice that insists on saying that you are not capable. This programming, fueled by negative thoughts, internal criticism, and constant comparison, is, without you seeing it, sabotaging your decisions, draining your energy, decreasing your self-confidence, and postponing, day after day, your results. And the most dangerous thing of all is that this sabotage happens in silence. It's not something you hear clearly. It's something you feel. It's that hesitation before acting, that fear disguised as prudence, that excuse that seems too logical to be challenged. Napoleon Hill said that the human mind is like a fertile field. Everything you plant there grows. And if you don't intentionally plant thoughts of victory, of strength, of discipline, of growth, what grows by default are thoughts of failure, fear, doubt, shame, resentment. They grow on their own, spread quickly, and take over everything if you're not there, if you don't take conscious control over what you think. And this is the part that many ignore. Negative thoughts are not an accident. They are the result of a mind that has not been trained, a mind that has been left in automatic mode. And this automatic, almost always, is destructive. How many times have you stopped yourself from doing something important because you thought it wasn't the right time? How many times have you put a project aside because you felt it wasn't ready yet? How many times have you started something with enthusiasm, but then let yourself be convinced that it wasn't good enough? These weren't really your decisions. They were decisions made by a mind programmed by fear, comparison, expectations of others, and judgment. And if you don't break this cycle, it will keep repeating itself. Because the pattern of toxic thinking is to repeat itself, to strengthen it, and to become so familiar that you start to believe that it is you. But it is not. You were not born with doubt. You weren't born afraid to try. This is put into you, and everything that was placed can be removed. What you need now is to learn to identify these toxic thoughts, understand where they come from, how they work, and most importantly, how to replace them with thoughts of power, clarity, determination, and purpose. Because yes, there is a way to reverse this process. There is a way to get out of this state of mental stagnation and start building an unwavering growth mindset. But this path requires presence, it requires awareness, and it demands action. The truth is that you don't need to wait for any external changes anymore. The change that will transform your life begins internally. And the first step is to take charge. It's looking head-on the thoughts that sabotage you and saying, I see you, but I'm not you. I choose something different. I choose to plant something new in the field of my mind. And do you know what happens when you plant new ideas, new habits of thought, new patterns of internal dialogue? You change slowly, deeply, and irreversibly. You start to act with more confidence. You start to make decisions with more courage. You start to attract new opportunities because your mental state changes everything around you. But don't think this is easy. It is not. The negative mental pattern will resist. He will try to convince you that you won't make it, that you're wasting time, that this isn't for you. He will try to pull you back to the familiar zone because he feeds on your doubt. And that's exactly why you need to be armed with mental strategies that work. And that's what we're going to build together here. A new foundation for your mind, a new structure of thought, something so solid, so aligned with the principles of self-discipline and personal leadership that even when obstacles arise, and they will arise, you will know exactly how to deal. Have you ever noticed how, in moments of crisis or uncertainty, your mind seems to become even noisier? As if all the fears that were dormant decided to wake up at the same time. This happens because your mind is trying to protect you. But the problem is that often it does this by paralyzing you, preventing you from acting. And that's why Hill taught that the greatest enemy is not failure, nor scarcity, nor time. The biggest enemy is uncontrolled negative thinking, because it creates a mental field where everything seems more difficult, more distant, more impossible. But when you change what you think, you change how you feel. And when you change how you feel, you change what you do. And that inevitably changes what you achieve. You don't need to be a slave to your mind. You can be her master. But to do that, you need to decide now that you will no longer feed thoughts that weaken you, who will carefully observe each mental pattern that takes you away from your goal, that you will start to use your mind as your main construction tool and no longer as your biggest source of self-sabotage. And that starts with a conscious decision, the decision to take control, to be selective with what you think, to be intentional with the words you use with yourself. If this all makes sense to you, if at some point you found yourself in this scenario, comment below. Tell me which thought you are determined to eliminate from your mind from today. You might write something like, "I abandon doubt," or "I free my mind now." Write what makes sense to you. I will read every comment. I'm going to give my little heart because I know how much it costs to take the step. And I want you to know that you are not alone. There is a community here that is following the same path, who believes in personal development, in real growth, in self-leadership, in success with purpose. This space is for you, and this journey is just beginning. You already understand that negative thoughts do not disappear on their own. They settle, grow, and feed on repetition. And the more you ignore them or try to sweep them under the mental rug, the stronger they get. It's as if every time you don't face them, you allow them to grow deeper root. Therefore, the only way to truly eliminate toxic thoughts is to consciously replace them, protect your mind, and program it in a new direction. And this is exactly where the 3 practical techniques taught by Napoleon Hill come in: simple, direct, and incredibly powerful when applied with discipline. And I want you to understand each of them in detail, because these are the tools that will put you in charge of your mental life. First technique is immediate replacement. And this technique is urgent because toxic thinking, when it appears, needs to be faced immediately. You can't let him settle. Hill said that a thought is like a seed. If you leave it in the soil, it germinates. But if you rip it out the moment it appears, it doesn't have a chance to grow. So every time that voice appears in your mind saying, "I can't do it," "This isn't for me," "I'm going to fail again," you will immediately interrupt this pattern with a positive affirmation, but not just any statement. It has to be something that resonates with your essence, something that has emotional truth. For example, instead of "I am a failure," you state with strength and conviction, "I am evolving every day, and I am capable of overcoming any challenge." This changes the focus. It changes your brain chemistry. This changes the direction of your energy. And the more you practice, the faster your brain starts to create the new pattern automatically. The second technique is the mental shield. This is a practice of energetic and emotional protection, and I will explain to you how it works. Imagine that your mind is like a fortress, and toxic thoughts are arrows that try to penetrate the wall. Every criticism, every judgment, every feeling of inadequacy, insecurity, or rejection you feel is an attempt for these arrows to enter. Now imagine that every time you notice this attack coming, you visualize a mental shield around you. It can be made of light, steel, energy, whatever makes the most sense to you. The important thing is that this shield is strong, firm, and impenetrable. When criticism comes, you take a deep breath, activate this mental shield, and internally say, "This does not define me." Over time, you will notice that your mind stops absorbing so much negativity. And that doesn't mean you're going to ignore reality. It means you will choose how to react to it. You will select what enters your mind with the same criteria that you select who enters your home. Because your mind is your sacred home. Protect as such. The third technique is morning repetition. This technique is the fuel of your day. Hill taught that the mind believes what is repeated with emotion, and modern science confirms what you repeat, feel, and believe shapes your identity. Therefore, as soon as you wake up, you will repeat power affirmations out loud or mentally. Don't expect to be motivated. Don't expect to be confident. You will assert it as an exercise in mental command. Something like, "I am disciplined, determined, and I am building my success every day." Or even, "I have clarity, focus, and nothing can stop me today. The secret here is repetition with emotion. There's no point repeating like a robot. You need to put truth into it. Feel each word as a seed of change being planted in your mind early, before any external interference tries to destabilize you. This morning habit is a shield for your mentality, and when you repeat this day after day, your mind starts to act as if it were already real. And that's where the magic happens, because action comes before belief. You act like someone strong, you talk like someone strong, and your mind starts to believe that you are, in fact, that person. These three techniques, when practiced together, create such a solid mental foundation that you begin to notice real, visible, tangible changes. You start acting different, start speaking with more confidence, start making decisions more firmly, and most importantly, start pushing away everything that previously made you hesitate. And yes, it requires effort. It requires consistency, but it is this effort that differentiates those who only dream from those who achieve, who waits outside their own mind, and who enters and takes control. And maybe now you're wondering, will I be able to keep up this practice? Will I remember to apply these techniques every day? And I'll tell you the truth, you just need to start. Consistency comes with time. Repetition creates habit, and habit transforms who you are. Today, what you need to do is make the decision to no longer live on autopilot of negativity, to train your mind like a leader trains his team, with discipline, with clarity, with intention. Your mind is not your enemy. It's just waiting for someone to guide it, and that someone is you. If this content is making sense to you so far, if at some point you realize that these techniques could be what was needed to change the way you deal with your own thought, comment below. Register this new commitment in your mind. You could write something like, "From today on, I choose my thought," or "My mind is my greatest asset." Write what represents, what seals this internal turn. I am following every comment, every step of those who are on this journey. And yes, I will leave my little heart in your comment, because I value those who decide to grow, who faces their mind head-on and chooses transformation. The journey continues, and the best is yet to come. If you've made it this far with me, that already says a lot about you. It says that you're not just looking for another motivational video to pass the time. It says that you're willing to face your limitations head-on, that you feel deep down that it's time to give your life a new direction, that you're ready to stop being a hostage to your own mind and finally take control of your journey. And maybe you haven't realized it yet, but this exact moment, right now, could be the turning point you've been waiting for. Not by magic, not by coincidence, but because you're now aware. You understand that thoughts create feeling, feelings generate actions, and actions shape your results. Napoleon Hill made it clear, everything starts with a thought, and if that thought is repeated with intention, with focus, with discipline, it becomes reality. But it's not just any thought. It's the ones you choose to maintain, cultivate, and strengthen, the ones that bring you closer to what you want to be and not what you're afraid to face. So answer me, honest, what kind of thoughts have you been harboring in the last few days? What words have you allowed to dominate your internal dialogue? What kind of images have you allowed your mind to repeat silently every day? Maybe you've caught yourself repeating phrases like, "I can't do it," "I'm a failure," "This will never work for me." And that's exactly where the change begins. Not out, not in the world, but inside. When you choose to replace these phrases with others that empower, that rescue your potential, that connect you with the strongest, most disciplined, most determined version of yourself, the version that is there, asleep, waiting for a clear command to wake up. And look, if you apply just one of these techniques for the next 7 days, just one, you'll start to feel the difference. It could be immediate replacement, mental shielding, or morning repetition. Choose one. Do it with presence. Do it willingly. Do it with faith. You will notice that something changes, that clarity begins to emerge, that decisions become lighter. May the energy return. And this is no coincidence. This is the result of training your mind to work in your favor. Instead of sabotaging you, you are not here by chance. You were guided to this content because you are ready for real transformation. And when you understand that your thoughts are not fact, but choices, you realize that you can choose a new path that can build a new destiny, a path of success, self-confidence, self-control, and purpose. And it all starts now with your decision. Decide that you will no longer accept living in a cycle of negativity, of doubt, of self-sabotage. Decide that your mind will be trained, strengthened, and reprogrammed. Because your mind doesn't define your limit, it defines your scope. And if you are committed to this, if you are really willing to put it into practice, comment below. Record your turning point. Write something like, "My mind is under my command," or even, "I build my destiny." They are short, simple phrases, but with enormous power. They are like seeds that you plant now, and that, with repetition, will germinate into a new reality. And yes, I will read your comment. I'll leave my little heart there, because every person who passes by here, who stops to listen until the end, who decides to change, that person deserves to be recognized. And I'm here to accompany you on this journey. And if you haven't liked this video yet, now is the time. Like it, because this simple gesture makes YouTube deliver this content to more people who are also looking for evolution, a growth mindset, personal development, and success with purpose. And of course, if you are not yet subscribed to the channel, subscribe now. Don't leave it for later. Here, you will find content that strengthens you, that challenges you, that really makes you grow. And each video is made with you in mind, as if it were an intimate conversation, eye to eye, to remind you that you are not alone, that there is a way, and that path begins inside your mind. It starts now.